everyone. Welcome to Technically Inappropriate. Thanks so much for tuning in for another week. This week, they didn't give me a topic. There most definitely probably is a topic, but my script does not include it. Major oversight if you're asking me, but despite the fact that there's a topic that nobody but the boys knows about yet, somehow they get into talking about facial hair instead. Russ's poor son is apparently having to deal with him living the bachelor life, whatever that means. And it turns out that they all have a big love for Cajun food of all things. So it's time to pause your Hallmark movies and tune in for another shit show. Enjoy!
Tony is 10 pounds lighter and half as smart.
Much like Samson, I shaved off the useless face hair. And
the bottom end.
Well, people ask, and they say, like, you know, are you growing a beard for some, visual statement? It's like, no, since I don't have to go into the office and I work in software, so why should I shave more than once every, quarter moon or something,
Are you talking about me right now?
No, if we were talking about you, Rob, it would be talking about, like, throwing in some extra bleach with the budgie smugglers.
They do burn a little when you put them on at first.
Yeah, but that burn is not because of the bleach.
I went on a whole creepy mustache growing adventure when COVID started. So around April, when everybody started to go really crazy with the lockdown, me and some buddies decided to see who could grow the creepiest mustache before our wives or partners would make us stop. And I won.
So back when I worked for AT&T,
it was creepy as shit. I saw it.
It was pretty horrifying. I'm still not allowed within 100 feet of a school.
That wasn't the mustache's problem. So back when I worked for AT&T, I was playing serious rugby at the time, so I was a very svelte man back then. My 100-meter sprint could be measured on a stopwatch instead of like today, which would require a calendar. And I don't know what, for some stupid reason, we had an end-of-year event, a Christmas party, whatever, and I said, it'll be stupidly funny for me to grow a mustache and go to the Christmas party. So I grew the mustache, and, I'm there at the Christmas party. I've got my sports coat on, white shirt, tie. And one of the guys I played rugby with is from South Africa. And he came up to me and he said, you remind me of a detective back home in Johannesburg. And then he looked at me and said, not the good type of detective.
More like the torture detective.
Well, when a South African is telling you that you're not a good type of detective, there's really only one type you can be. And so at that point, I decided I should never wear a mustache ever again.
That's terrible. I once so I usually keep like the full beard thing going, but one time, I can't remember why I did it when I was at Microsoft, but I think it was like, just everyone was doing mustaches, so I came in with like a mustache on for like 1 or 2 days, and it literally looked like a caterpillar had literally died on my face. It was just the absolute most porn looking thing I'd ever seen. It was terrible. I
had a lot of fun shaving mine off. I would pop out of the bathroom with different looks. I'm like, now I was a molester. Now I'm a cop.
Did you ever
the whole time Josie's like, this is not helping. There's nothing you're doing that's working for me.
Did you go the full Jake Plummer?
Oh,
I went with like the wrestler thing down the sides. I don't know what you call that.
That's the full Jake Plummer.
But then I also had a cool little soul patch.
Oh man,
Just for the extra creepy points.
I can't remember what they call it, but yeah, where you shave this beak, keep all of this. I looked straight out of the Civil War. Like you just get rid of the chin and everything here, so you just got this coming down and along the cheeks and back up into the sideburns.
You've got the mutton chops going on.
Yeah.
You've got,
See, I can't do that. Like nothing comes in here at all. So
that's probably because of a severe lack of testosterone there, Russ.
That's my best guess. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, no, there's a glorious picture of me with that out there somewhere for sure.
Well, it's unclear when Rob says there's a glorious picture of him with fur. Is that his mangy yak belt, or is that his real fur?
Mangy yak belt is what's on his face.
Oh man. So, Tony, how's your week been going?
Week's been good. I got over fair to middling. I'm now, fair to good.
Excellent.
So, sent out. I've sent some awesome memes so far this week. Justifying my continued employment by keeping the people that I work with,
amused.
Happy.
Amused.
Yeah.
I mean,
how about yourself?
Not too bad. I'm ready for. I'm glad it's Friday. I'm good with that. I think I want to dig into some like camera stuff or whatever. We're gonna do some stakes this weekend. Play just like all the soccer leagues are kind of coming to an end for their winter. So I've had like double headers and like a ton of games this week. So
I was so enthusiastic when he said coming to the end, but then he added more.
Yeah.
There'll be more seasons. There'll always be more. Sorry, Tony. I hate to say it. So not too bad there. I think I'm gonna hang out with some friends this weekend, smoke some steaks, have a good time, like just forget about stuff for a bit. Be nice. What about you, Russ? What you got going on?
My wife is out of town on a business trip.
Bachelor time.
So she works for an art gallery, and there's an art show down on the coast, and so she and her gallery have gone down there. They left yesterday, and the wheels are already falling off. So she was still like she was here, and I think that I kind of got my shit together, right? But then she leaves town, and I realized how much I do not have my shit together, because yesterday at 7:45 p.m., my son walks in to the room where I'm napping and says, "What's for dinner?" And I realized I'd been sleeping for the last 2 hours. And
at that point,
I had no plan.
You didn't give him a hammer and say, whatever you find?
Yeah, well, I was like, there's fucking frozen shit in the freezer, man. Leave me alone. So
I'm just as abandoned as you are.
I make it more than a day or so, but I haven't even made it a day. And now it is 5 in the afternoon on a Friday. My kid's going to be home at any second, and I want to put on a good show, but we're recording this, so he's just going to have to wait. But also, to be fair, I have no idea what we're eating tonight.
Character building. Provide them with a set of ingredients and tell them the person that comes up with the best solution will be the one that will be eating.
That's right. I'm going to say that while I'm eating my peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
That's right. It's good.
I was never good on the whole cooking thing. It's like, I can cook, like, don't get me wrong, but I'm also quite happy just to eat the ingredients as they live. And so I'm like, well, yeah, I can assemble this salad, or I can just eat the carrot and the cucumber and the ham and everything just individually.
The word to incorporate into your vocabulary is deconstructed.
Yeah.
I'm having a deconstructed salad.
Yeah, see, the word in my vocabulary for that is pretentious.
Well, that is my specialty.
So when Sarah's out of town, you're just rummaging around the house, grabbing whatever you can find in the fridge and just stuff it in your mouth. Is all day.
Pretty much so.
Just deconstructed burritos, deconstructed pizzas.
No, well, so generally what I do is actually when Sarah's out of town, I make the stuff that she doesn't like. Like, she's not a huge fan of gumbo and jambalaya and a bunch of the rest of all of that awesome Louisiana type food.
Oh yeah.
And so I generally will go, okay, I'm going to make myself 2 gallons of soup, you know, and I will eat that with, you know, and with the gumbo, you know, it's like, oh, I'll go the whole hog and have like 3 to 6 pounds of smoked sausage and chicken and prawns in it. And, you know, then I'll just eat that for 2 days, freeze some so that, you know, when I find that I need some additional food, and then I'll go out and make some Spanish rice with like a dirty Spanish rice, which is basically Spanish rice that you show porn to. And, you know, and so I make all the stuff that she doesn't like while I'm, you know, while she's out. And then we make, you know, the stuff that we both like when she's here. And then when she's on her own, she can, you know, make as much mac and cheese as a human being can, you know, eat in the 1 week space that I'll be gone.
That sounds like
consume and not get scurvy. So the next time Sarah's leaving town, could you just remind me? Because I haven't had a good gumbo or jambalaya forever.
Oh, holy crap. So when I did this nerd weekend a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
One of the guys.
Your Smoldering Man?
Yes, Smoldering Man.
Smoldering Man DC.
So I'm the game master, but I asked for someone to be the grub master, and the grub master has family from Lafayette, Louisiana, and on Saturday he made a fucking gumbo that was the tits.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
let me be clear. This is like, I come from the South, you know, right? The way.
Okay, I was really wondering where that was going.
To the point that I would consider Louisiana to be the Arctic of Australia.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
you know, I make a gumbo. You know, proper people from Louisiana would probably say, what the hell is that crap?
Yeah.
And why are you forcing it upon us, you bastard?
Right.
You know, I like it. I love gumbo. Like, trust me, I could eat my body weight in gumbo when I'm in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I do question, I hear what you're saying, Tony, because if an Australian from the Pacific Northwest offered me their homemade gumbo, I might
Questions?
raise an eyebrow.
I think this is one of the meals we have when we do the summer cabin trip we're doing.
You bring all of the excellence that is known from British food,
Right?
to a cuisine which is based from a country, France, that you fundamentally hate. So
Right.
it's clear that I had.
Also, all the ingredients come from the bottom of a delta.
Yeah. Well, the exception of the pig.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, well,
unless
depends on how you treated the pig.
unless you got a really lost pig, right? So,
Oh my goodness.
but yeah, you cannot go past. We went and watched. We watched the Seahawks play Chicago in a. Was it Chicago? Oh, it could have been Atlanta. Seahawks play Atlanta in a playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to New Orleans to watch it.
Oh,
And
okay.
the New Orleans people were asking, "Why are you here?"
Yeah.
And they hate Atlanta. So we said, like, really, out of the two places, would you prefer to watch this game in Atlanta or New Orleans? They're like, we got you. We understand why you're here. Please have another.
Another helping. Phenomenal. Oh man. Speaking of which, do we want
They
to
had this. There's this hotel in New Orleans that the bar is actually on like a record table. It just spins around, slowly spins around.
Mm-hmm.
It is. I don't remember the name of it. We found it because one of the guys we were with went to Tulane as his university, and so he knew this bar. And the bar basically spins around, I think, or maybe the seats spin around the bar. I don't know, but something spins around. And so all I did we went there and we drank there the entire night, and all I did was just stand in one location, and I would just drink booze and then talk to the people as they came past me. And it was the best night ever. And he goes, "Oh, we never thought of doing that." And I'm like, that's why you did architecture and not engineering.
I absolutely love New Orleans. And frankly, this is why, I live in Fort Worth, Texas, which is in and of itself. Well, Fort Worth's a cool town. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But we're also 8 hours from an entirely different planet. You can go to Memphis, you can go to New Orleans, you can go to New Mexico. You can be in any of these places in 8 hours. You can be in Big Bend, which is like being on the surface of the moon at Smoldering Man, Tony. But you're within 8 hours of wildly different cultures. And New Orleans is one of those. And I fucking love it. Like it's great. There's, ghost tours and pirate bars and
I love Texas as well. Like, don't get, it's like Texas is like Australia.
At the bottom,
like where I grew up, it's that weather and everything from the sort of the northwest part of Texas, the whole dry. Then that's a lot like the weather where I grew up.
Yeah,
where my grandmother was and everything. And I like, and Texans are very, they're very, happy, proud, easygoing people to talk with, except those in Dallas. They have absolutely no sense of humor about the JFK
fuck
assassination.
those fucking fucks.
Right? Because
interesting.
I'm sitting there and I went to the book depository. I'm like, it's not that hard a shot.
No.
You could take that. It's like, it's like, sure, you're using a shitty Chinese Russian clone rifle. Like, come on. They're like, don't joke about it. I'm like, wait, it's a politician. You guys don't like them. We don't like them. Nobody likes politicians. How could this be a bad thing? No sense of humor whatsoever.
I don't have enough pairs of shiny pants to live in Dallas.
I will say the one thing when I was down in Louisiana, it really, like, walking around downtown that area, it felt Seattle-like, but if they had actually added some culture to it, like, it really is really good.
Hey, by the way, Rob, I feel like Tony and I are doing a great job of railroading whatever topic you have for us today.
I've kind of planned the right amount of time. I'm rolling towards them now. Speaking of which, culture.
What's a segue? What's a metaphor?
We go. The metaphor is nothing. We're going to talk about TV. No, the future of.
While Rob introduces the topic, I'm going to go get another beer.
Yes, get another. You're supposed to bring all these things with you. That's what I do. So.
Oh wait, so let's talk about Memphis for a second, Rob.
Oh, okay. Memphis. Tell me about Memphis.
I'm just fucking.
What is that anything to do with broadcast television?
Although no, my family's all from Memphis, so
but you were born in
Atomic
Alaska.
family moved to Texas back in the 70s. But everyone that I know and love is actually in Memphis, and we would go back to Memphis every summer as a child. I'd go back, spend 2 weeks there, visiting family, whatever. I've never seen anything that Memphis has to offer because I'm just visiting family. When I went through Memphis with my wife right after we got married, we drove through Memphis on our way to Baltimore. And she was like, hey, should we go see Graceland? And I was like, where is that? What are you talking about?
Oh, my goodness.
So we did a quick pass through Graceland to check that
now,
off our list.
Now that I'm back, did anyone admit what the topic was?
I'm getting there.
I can't wait to find out because I forgot.
So speaking of Memphis and Graceland and TV and Vegas and Elvis and everything else. Yeah, no, nothing here. Future broadcast television. That's what we're talking about today. The more I kind of look at what's going on right now with the NFL ticket and all the things going on there, and the fact that it sounds like YouTube TV is going to pick up the NFL package this next year. I don't think anything's actually signed yet, but I'm just counting the days till I tell DirecTV to go pound sand. Here's your equipment back. I'm done with it. Frankly, the only reason I even use live TV anymore at all is just for sports, and most of that I can get through ESPN directly now, ESPN Plus, and then beyond that, I really just want to watch NFL football in the fall, and if it's on YouTube TV now, it's like I have no reason to have it. So
yeah, but that's because you can get away with that because you're a Dolphins fan living in Seattle. So every game is going to be an away game for you. You're never
Right.
going to have to worry about it being blacked out.
Uh-huh.
You know, whereas the rest of us that are sane in terms of having a team that we support that has some geographic location, linkage to where we live.
And some reasonable expectation of success.
It's not going to get blacked out, though.
You see, if I went to YouTube TV, the Seahawks game every weekend would be blacked out, every home game, because that's what the NFL does, because they sell $1 billion package to the television network. So Fox, ABC, NBC, CBS, that's $1 billion or $2 billion. And then part of their agreement is that what goes online that you can watch in any location is blacked out if it's a local game. And they used to be much more flexible on that whole, like if the stadium is sold out, they would let you watch it on a TV, on a streaming service or something, even if you're in the same geographic area. But I can't remember the last time I was able to, pick up actually, to be totally honest, I can't remember the last time I tried to pick up a local Seahawks game off a non-broadcast network streaming service. So what I mean by that is that, I'm a DirecTV subscriber, so I can use DirecTV to sign into Fox's or CBS's or ABC's streaming service and watch that.
Right.
But you used to be able to go to Sunday Ticket and watch the sold-out games locally, and you can't do that anymore. At least,
sure.
I can't remember the last time I saw that.
So let's say that's going on, right? Like, I'll give you that one. But what about the absolute rest of it? What else is on there that you need to tune in for?
Well, I think that the economics is the model that you're really talking about. It's like, the broadcast free-to-air TV model is we'll give you free programming, and we pay for the cost of that free programming by showing you ads. Nobody wants to watch ads, but they have no other model. How do you do free-to-air TV where you don't control the receiver without being an ad-driven model? And so the only way you can change that is by having an ad-driven model. Now, all of the services have shown that the subscriber-driven model doesn't work either. You used to be able to sign up for, DirecTV and then watch their shows and have no ads. And now you've got unskippable ads that are in the middle of it. You've got the same thing on other services where, you buy Hulu Premium and get local channels or whatever it is, and you have ads that you have to watch, Now, they're not as intrusive as the free-to-air ads. There's start ads, end ads, and you can sort of ignore them. But, you have a bunch of these ads, and that's their model, is that we can't charge you enough to cover the cost of the programming we develop because you don't want to pay for it. We have to get advertisers that are willing to pay insane rates, because they're going to pay $1 million to reach 5 people, because that's what it costs, or some number like that, some insane number. And so, the model is broken.
Russ, do you have thoughts really quick?
Well, I was just thinking about 10 or 12 years ago, I tried to cut the cable when Boxy was in its infancy. And I adopted it too soon because it tainted the waters for my family in a way, because it was so sporadic and bad, and it wasn't it didn't fulfill all the promises that I was making to my family. And so we are still, on the cable as a result, because I got like an antenna and a Boxy, and I said we're never paying for this ever again, and it was just like it was a bad situation. But I do think that we're closer to that now. or being able to cut the cable. What you guys are talking about, and the things that we would miss would be local news and live sports. And local news is hot shit. Who cares? And except unless, as a Texan, there's a tornado blowing through, which is really the only time I tune into where I'm happy that I have local coverage is when, this time of year when bad shit's coming in. The rest of the time, I just don't really see a need for it. Because everything we're consuming is, a streaming service that I'm also paying for.
Right.
So,
See, I could, I'm very similar to what you're stuck with, Russ, is that, I pay an exorbitant amount of money to DirecTV, and most of the stuff we watch, we could get from the streaming services that we already sign up for. The trouble is that I am willing to pay that bonus to DirecTV so that I don't have to retrain my wife in how to find the information.
You're paying for consistency,
right?
Right.
Oh, I'm paying
You're
for
paying
UI.
for
I'm paying for the user interface that she knows how to use and how to record. And during the Christmas season, she can record 750,000 Hallmark movies.
Oh, yes.
And then watch them end to end, 24 hours a day of Hallmarky goodness, which boggles my mind. I don't really understand it because Hallmark has one storyline, and they just have different actors in every version of the storyline.
Yes. Handsome guy moves into a small town.
Yeah.
Is this just a Midwest thing too, by the way? Because I'd never really thought much of the Hallmark movies, but now that I'm dating someone from the Midwest, every time I go back there during the holidays, fucking every TV is on Hallmark, and they're watching all the goddamn movies, and it's the same actors doing different storylines with the same plot, and I'm just like, what is this all about? Like, why is this interesting?
Well, the interest is to see whether or not the actors have been arrested at any point during the different movies.
Apparently.
Because Lori Loughlin used to be a big Hallmark person, and then all her movies have suddenly disappeared since she got arrested for that whole...
Oh, is that the college scandal?
That was the college scandal woman. Yeah.
Oh, dear. All right.
So I laugh about it because, there is a corridor from my office, straight shot to where the living room is with the TV. So Sarah watches that, and I'll be in here working on it, and I'll be able to sort of shout down the corridor. It's like, has the lead woman realized that the guy that she's been dating is not the nice guy, and that the person that she dissed, is really the nice person that you want? Has that realization happened yet? And she'll go, no, it hasn't, but it will.
So true. But
all right, note to self: don't watch rom-coms with Tony.
Oh, for sure. Well, or in the same house with Tony. Apparently, he won't watch them. He'll just comment on them from the
after the
shadows.
If you heard about the start of this this whole stream, about the emergency dump problem. So it's probably not good to be in the same house watching TV.
You're gonna clear the room.
Oh yeah, literally. But so. Local TV, all right. Stuff.
Well, Rob, before you go on that, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, please.
What would you want to see from free-to-air television? What would make free-to-air television compelling for you?
I would love to be able to just turn on one of the shows that are on their network when I'm ready to watch it, and not do DVR bullshit either, right? I'm very much more in the game plan of the Netflix style menu of items. So if I go to CBS, outside of maybe news or live event, I would just what show's on? And if I'm paying, the $300 or whatever, I just have all these things and I can go and watch the shows and binge them or whatever, right?
So
I don't
you're
have
a convenience person.
Well, yeah. I work on.
I want to watch what I want to watch when I want to watch.
When you want to watch it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Russ?
Yeah, no, that's the thing, and I think that's the model where, and maybe this is the conversation, right? But the broadcast model doesn't work now,
Yeah.
right? Because I want to watch what I want to watch when I want to watch it. So I don't want to watch whatever you're broadcasting, unless it's a sports event or some, coronation or
Some
whatever.
live thing.
But
You have a live
some live thing.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, from a show perspective, I just want to pop up my menu and say, "Oh, I feel like a war movie," or "Oh, I feel like a rom-com," and watch that and consume that through Peacock or Apple TV or whatever it is, whatever the 150 streaming services I'm paying for now.
No, and I agree.
I think the bigger thing is like I'm trying to figure out how do I streamline the streaming services I'm paying for to get the content that I want,
Right.
and get rid of all the other stuff.
And I guess that's the thing I'd say, regardless of whether you feel that, like, we can just put aside whether you think CBS's content is worth even watching, but just like I work from 7 or 8 in the morning until 5 or 6 or 7 o'clock at night, depending on what's going on. And then I've got dinner to deal with. And then at some point you realize you have kids in the house, Russ, and you got to deal with those. And then like by the time you really have time to watch it, it's like 11:30 at night. And you're going to watch one little thing or one piece of that and then go off to bed. That's what it is, right? That's almost why I love YouTube. I have YouTube Premium because the creators that are on there make content I'm interested in, and it's in a 15-minute segment.
Yeah, I would be all okay with that, except for the fact that I'm not okay with paying 98% of my fee to Google.
Yeah, I know
Right.
you're down on Google, but take YouTube off the channel. Like, let's just talk about any kind of streaming type service or something where creators go in. You could go with Creativity or there's one like Floatplane or something like that, right?
So
like,
I have a huge problem with advertising. If I am paying you money, I do not want to see advertising. Fundamentally, that's it.
Right.
Right. If you are not charging me enough to justify watching your channel without ads, your model is broken.
I agree.
Not
with
my choices. Your model is broken. Right.
Is this a Hulu rant?
It might be.
No, it's every streaming service, that tries to meld ads with because what they know is that with the exclusion of a few, a small segment of the people are not, they're not addicted to it.
Uh-huh.
And so they know that there is a price they can charge, a revenue maximizing price, that if they charge over that, their subs will fall off.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because people are happy to pay $9.95 a month, or they're happy to pay $14.95 a month, or whatever. There's some number that people are happy to pay for, and if they go over that, they hit a cliff of people that will just start dropping their service. So the only realistic way they have of increasing their revenue is by selling ads.
Uh-huh.
And so they'll find some way to jam ads in at the start or the end, or as I think I sent you guys an image of like the Chrome around a video that I was watching, and all I could watch, what I cared about was a 3-inch by 4-inch picture in the middle, and the rest of it was all crap that they had sold to other people.
Yeah.
Right, and I had no choice about either watching that in a window like that, or going full screen and then having that crap around the edges of my full screen. So the model that they have is a revenue maximized model. And I have no problem with them maximizing the revenue. I really don't. But they should have no problem with me telling them to go, shove a log up their ass if they increase above a certain price and then try and show me ads, right?
So,
and so
one question on
go
that
ahead,
really
Rob.
quick, just to clarify. Are you okay with some of the bumpers you'll see at the beginning of like HBO things where they're just promoting other things within the...
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm really not. Because if you give them the an ad at the start and an ad at the end sort of thing, then what you end up with is fucking DVDs. where I've paid $50 for a piece of plastic, and then I've got a 3-minute FBI warning at the front telling me not to like steal this. Then I've got 7 minutes of commercials
while
for
you're
shit
furiously copying the DVD.
that I never wanted to watch to
past.
start with. Right? It's like you buy Saving Private Ryan, and the 7 minutes of ads on the DVD are for a Christmas love story and stuff. It's like for fuck's sake, do the math on your audience here. But if you give them that bumper at the front, what you'll get is then you'll start getting that this is like 7 minutes of unskippable shit. Then you can watch your whole bit. And again, I come to the point of, if it was free, great. Run the 7 minutes of those ads. I'll get up, I'll take a dump, I'll go get some beer, I'll make myself a Won't Fix. Won't Fix, by the way, is homestyle lemonade and vodka. The no repro is Diet Coke and Jack. And so, I'll go do that, and then the movie will start, and I'll sit down and I'll watch it, right? I'm okay with that deal.
Mm-hmm.
But if I've given you money for the movie, I do not want your advertising. That's my deal, right? And if
Okay,
you don't
so even
like
bumpers for like
Right.
other HBO shows on HBO's Max is no, not doing that.
No, because they if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Fair enough.
Once they get you conditioned to having this small inconvenience, then suddenly it's another small inconvenience. Look at YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rob, you pay the YouTube premium.
Yeah.
YouTube said years ago, oh, well, unless you monetize, you won't get ads. Well, okay, now if you've sufficient viewers, we'll put mid-roll ads in anyway, even if you don't monetize. We'll just take that ad money and not give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I watch YouTube solely on my PC. I don't watch it on any other platform. The reason being is I'm not paying those fuckers money. And on a PC, I can use an ad, blocker. And it'll block all those bullshit ads that you get in a YouTube thing. If I watch it on my Fire Stick or on my TV, I've got to sit there for 5, 6, 7, however long it takes to get to the point where I can say, okay, now I can skip the ad and go to the next thing. So the model is broken from what their customers want. They don't have the ability to understand or the ability to think up a new model that will make people willing to give them money.
So,
and there may not be a model. There may just simply not be a model.
well,
Yeah.
wrapping this back around to broadcasting and where I guess a lot of this really comes back to ads and all that originally had kind of started on this plan. Like they set the precedence for all this, but how is it going to, I mean, how much, if ads are, how much longer can broadcast live under this current game plan of how the world works, I guess? I don't know. How many people do we know that actually really do just watch broadcast TV? I don't, unless it's live events.
Right. It's, we have a DirecTV unit. We have the Genie here.
Mm-hmm.
We record all the TV that's local channel stuff that we get through DirecTV. We record it.
Mm-hmm.
About news, weather, and football are about the only two things that, the only things we watch live.
Yeah. I mean, and you can get weather stuff through your cell phone. I mean, a lot of the stuff.
Yeah,
so
when there's a big weather event, as a Texan in Tornado Alley,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pulling up my ham radio and Twitter when the shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really turning on my TV, so it's not even that useful, for those purposes.
I mean, I don't know if we're just not the right market for it. How much longer does broadcast
three fat old white guys screaming for people to get off our lawn may not be the market for broadcast TV?
I'm wondering if
We're probably not the
if
ideal
we are not the
demographic,
market,
Tony.
there is no market.
Well, then how much longer does this last? How much longer does, like, I know that Comcast is railed against people having internet without having cable. I know that's been an interesting thing. Hey, you want cable? You can, or if you want internet, you got to pay for cable or your internet's more expensive. Shit like that. How much, like, do we, like, in 10 years from now, do we think we have a channel 5, 6, 7?
Well,
10,
so
11?
if you look at the technology of it,
Yeah.
right, the reason, today, once the concept of the internet started appearing, and not even the internet per se, but the ability to have
Real
some
networks.
form of digital pipe to your
Right.
house, right? You had free-to-air has an incredible bandwidth to it.
Oh, yeah.
So it can dump, high res video to you that
4K.
you couldn't get, when you had your 300 baud modem, calling up, right? You were just never going to get it. It would be like 7 months to download, the one episode of Married with Children that had Christina Applegate in the bikini.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pipes got bigger, and the pipes got bigger, and the pipes got bigger. And now, like, I'm sitting here with like a 1 gig pipe to my house, and so I can watch pretty much a compressed, not an uncompressed 4K stream without affecting anything else in the house.
A 4K stream of Christina Applegate in a bikini,
Which,
24/7.
if you go to ChristinaApplegate.net and pay the privilege, you'll be able to do that. Sorry, can we edit that out in post? And
Good.
Sorry,
but
I'll be right back.
as Russ is now saying, I still got half of that 55-gallon drum of lube left over.
Sometimes Russ is the nicest person, and other times just weird shit like that comes out. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember. He's just
Well,
twisted
all I'm
weird.
saying is that
What are you talking about? The 55-gallon drum of lube?
we haven't heard anything in Russ's office squeaking recently.
Oh yeah.
It's yeah.
No, I wasn't going to mention it, but yeah, now you bring it up. I was like, holy crap. Yeah.
It's like butter over here.
You know,
By the way, don't look for any more butter in the house.
Also, we're completely out of butter.
as an unrelated note, right?
Yes.
So Rob, yeah, I think, like, I don't know, like, I think it really is probably a bigger story about what is the future of advertising,
That was
Right.
true.
than it is about free-to-air television. Because you could almost argue that free-to-air is simply a delivery mechanism for
For advertising.
advertising. And the free-to-air stations just simply are middlemen that happen to have found a way to extract revenue from the advertisers, rather than the advertisers are a way to enable free-to-air. So,
Interesting. Yeah, that's an angle I hadn't thought about. And you're right.
I mean,
like,
but
they're always worried about
that's
advertising.
it's a model that's 100 years old almost at this point, right?
Oh yeah, at least. Man, I mean, radio started it, right? Drink your Oval.
Yeah.
Well, no, print. Think about print. You
Yeah.
you printed newspapers and you did advertising in newspapers.
And if you took the magazine apart, you had 20 pages of content and 70 pages.
Why?
Of
Why are local newspapers dead? Because they made virtually all the revenue from advertising, and more importantly, from for sale type columns at the arse end of the newspaper.
yeah. That's,
All of that is being cannibalized by places like Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace
PayPal.
and so on.
Or not PayPal.
eBay.
eBay. Thank you. Yeah.
Right? And so they've got maybe, large scale ad stuff, people that want a full page or a quarter page or something like that. And that's why newspapers have died. And I don't even want to get into the fundamental shit fire that is journalism.
Yeah.
Right,
No,
but
that's whole different
just-
topic. And we can
Just
bring it
the advertising part of it has crippled newspapers. Is free to air the next triple E, for want of an English language word,
And that's what I'm wondering.
because of the way advertising is changing.
No, and I think that I didn't like when I originally said, like, what is the future of broadcast TV? Because, like, I don't know anybody who watches it. And yeah, if the ad people aren't getting what they want out of that, they'll let that thing die in a, it'll become a desert and be out of there. So then, yeah, they're off on the streaming services and what we do there. I mean, then what's next? It's interesting.
See, I think if I had to pick stuff, I think what you'll see is a collapse of the local TV market, right?
Yeah, I think I already see it.
I think you'll see local stations will be almost forced to go under, and what they'll become, they'll be forced to go under once our generation dies out.
Do you think that goes with us?
Right, I think it's a
I think
generational
it goes
thing. Once
before us.
But
Once fat old white guys-
It's not unlike what's happening to local papers, right? So
Right.
local papers are shutting down and getting consolidated. And if you look at the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, well, it's run out of some operation in Kansas City, and it's 4 pages instead of 400 pages. And, and I think what I'm hearing you say, Tony, is that's kind of what we're going to see broadcast television turn into, right? Like, it's just going to get slimmer and slimmer and slimmer.
And I think
Until
what
it
will
goes
happen
away.
is the national networks will end up consuming the local stations, right?
Mhm.
Ignore
Yeah.
the laws against it, because as we know, laws really only matter until big bags of cash are presented to lawmakers,
Right.
Right.
right? The laws will change to allow consolidation of networks and ownership and everything.
For the best outcome.
Right.
And I use quotation
And so
marks.
what you'll end up with ABC owning all the ABC stations. You'll end up with Fox owning all the Fox stations.
Mhm.
And they'll use it as an alternate way to get around the gatekeepers that will become like Comcast is a gatekeeper now.
Mhm.
Well, I mean,
Right.
they're not just, a provider. They own them.
Look at these network
Broadcast.
retards out there. And I use that word in the most generous sense because I actually think that they're worse than this. They're out there in Europe now saying that they want money to, their subscribers already pay them X number of dollars a month for a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
And now they want people that provide bits for that pipe to pay them X dollars a month for those bits, to carry those bits. It's like they want to get paid on the front end and the back end for the exact same reason that, that I was talking about earlier, where, they want to basically, they can't raise the price at the front end. So the only way they can increase their revenue is by raising it on the back end. And, I don't see any reason, like if I pay $100 a month to Comcast for a 1 gig pipe, I'm making the numbers up. Don't quote me on this, right?
Right.
Don't
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ringing your local Comcast rep and asking why
Our
you're not getting a
subreddit
gig
group
for
will rant
100 or
at
whatever,
some point.
right? You should just give me 1 gig bits a month for that price, right? Your network should be sized for that, capable of handling it, and have the economics to do that, right? Modulo the reality of oversubscription and not 100% utilization and so on and so forth and so such, right? Now, why are you asking Netflix to pay you to carry their content as well? Well, because they realize that if they suddenly turned to me and said, well, Wall Street says we need a 10% increase in our profitability. The only way we can do that is by doubling your fee. I would tell them to take a very, very long walk off a very, very short jetty.
Mm-hmm.
And
Pure.
they know that. And so they can't do it to me. So they're trying to do it to somebody else, right? I think you'll see the Foxes and the ABCs and the CBSs and that use free-to-air to get around the cost of paying the pipe owners for the internet pipes.
Mm-hmm. So that raises some other interesting, really quick questions, and I almost think it's another episode we could talk about. But to just kind of glimpse into this for a moment, then as these start to hit, what does this do to like the DirecTVs of the world? And because DirecTV is a provider of TV, they do not have a internet subscription model like Comcast Xfinity does, right? I mean, Russ, you said you're on AT&T, right?
Yeah.
For internet?
AT&T.
But what's your TV provider? Same?
It's the same.
Yeah.
Uverse or AT&T or whatever.
DirecTV do we still think DirecTV's around in 5 years?
Oh, no, I think DirecTV is boned. DirecTV was boned as soon as AT&T bought them.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the model that they have to deliver stuff is very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've got to put a geosync satellite up, you know, which costs a lot of money.
Yep.
They need multiple of them. They've got to have downlinks at everyone's house, which costs a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so I think when AT&T bought them, AT&T expected to be able to turn on, what did DirecTV call their streaming service? DirecTV Now.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
I think AT&T expected to be able to turn it into DirecTV Now and turn it into a complete streaming service and never launch another satellite.
Interesting.
You know, and that just didn't happen. It's not what the DirecTV market wanted. Like, well, especially not the way they implemented it.
Mm.
You know, I'm not going to pay AT&T another $10 a month to get DirecTV Now at my house because I've got a satellite dish up there and I've got the hardware here already. Why do you want me to give you another $10 to do a streaming service which duplicates the thing I have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the only way they can convert me is by flipping me over, by turning off the stream. And as soon as and this is something, and you guys know this, you know, it's like when you give a customer a chance to pull their head out of the ground and have a look around, that customer can change, you know, vendors and change solutions and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to keep your customers with their heads down, you know, focused on doing what they're doing. You don't want to let them. It costs a lot more money to retain a customer or to acquire a customer than it does to retain a customer. And it costs more money to keep a customer happy than it does to retain them when the customer comes. And so if you give me an option to go through those steps, I might look around. Like if they turned off the system here, then I would tell Sarah, I'd say, okay, now let's get a Hallmark subscription. Let's get it. No, and I would. Let's get a Hallmark subscription. Let's get, you know, we've got the Hulus, we've got this. You know,
if I, to be honest, Tony, if I could piecemeal some sort of like ESPN/NBA and Bravo HGTV package, I'm done.
Yeah.
And I'd pay $40-$50 a month for that, and it would still save me shit tons of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we need.
Yeah. Interesting.
Plus the other $400 in streaming services I'm paying for.
Stop by Disney Plus
just in case, because like Ted Lasso's got a new season coming up.
But if you look at what those young people, get off my fucking lawn. You look at what the young people are doing, right? I've read a number of stories. I don't know how true these are, you know, because again, this is journalism.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Saying that what young people are doing now is, you know, a show will come out that they want to watch, and it'll be on a network, on a streaming service.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll sign up for the streaming service, binge watch the show, and then discontinue their subscription.
Oh, yeah. Without selling out my kids too hard, this is exactly what's happening at my house when, you know, like a new season of Mandalorian or whatever the fuck comes out. Then one of my kids will buy a subscription to Disney Plus and binge it, and the other one and me are trying to keep track of like, okay, now's our window.
We got the subscription for 6 weeks.
We got the subscription. Let's watch. We gotta watch it now.
Yeah,
because it's going away.
So, all right. Interesting. Sounds to me like DirecTV, Dish Network, they're pretty much going to be dead in the water very soon. As things start to move more and more towards kind of this consolidated model.
If DirecTV, I don't know if it's a done deal about the NFL.
I don't either. No one's signed.
Sunday ticket thing. There's a lot of talk that DirecTV has lost that.
Mm-hmm. They're saying YouTube's going to pick it up.
I think if DirecTV loses Sunday ticket, if AT&T is willing to let that go, and to be totally honest, the price they'd have to pay for it, I don't think it justifies it.
No.
Then I think DirecTV is probably in real hard times. I think you'll see people just say, fine, I'll turn it. If it wasn't for, here at my home, if it wasn't for the fact that I don't want to go to the hassle of, because we don't have an antenna.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go to the hassle of putting an antenna up, cabling it into the TV, teaching my wife how to get, free-to-air programming on the TV. In fact, I don't even know if my TV has a tuner input.
It does.
Right?
Believe it or not, it does.
I wouldn't bet on that.
That's why it's a TV and not a monitor.
Well, again, would not bet on that because
might be a monitor, Rob.
Well, it's a TV, but does it have like an F-type connection at the back of it that you can screw a coax into?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll go have a look, but
don't mess with our Hallmark movie.
If if we got rid of if it was only those free-to-air bits, right? The little times that we use local is the only reason I have DirecTV, really.
Yeah.
Because DirecTV, has the everything else we can get off a streaming service.
Right.
So yeah.
So I think the cable providers are in a good spot because they can probably back in on their internet, and then at some point they'll figure out some way as all the ad revenue kind of dies out in this area and they consolidate things down because my cousins worked in local TV up in Alaska of all places, but all that's consolidated down and got pulled out. So I mean, it matches to what you're marching towards, Tony. So I think satellite dies. Anything that can't provide an internet stream dies. Cable has to start reforming how they're providing it.
I think stop referring to cable TV companies as cable TV companies.
Yeah,
they're basically internet pipe companies that have a television.
Yes,
part
exactly.
To them.
Exactly. You're right. That's what I'm saying when I say it. I guess I'm just trying to say it.
Also, I think it's a little bit disingenuous, Rob, for you to talk about your family members working for television stations in Alaska. This is public access mangy yak TV.
No, they worked for the local news groups and all that, right? And they're drying up. It's true. I mean, no, they're still talking about mangy yaks, I guess.
Apparently, the Velcro market in Alaska has been completely saturated, so they can't sell Velcro gloves for people to grab yaks with anymore.
Oh,
they made it inhumane.
But there's a huge ad market for steel harpoons. So
all this said, last question, and we'll roll out of here because I feel like I kind of got a grasp on where I think things go, and it's actually pretty dire. A lot more than I thought it was.
as it always is.
Yeah, but when do you start thinking they're going to? Some company is going to start bundling streaming services and make the new cable world.
Well, so that's a great question because I'm sure all the cable companies want to do that.
Right.
The whole push for 10 years ago, there was an incredible push for a la carte programming.
Right.
I should be able to go to Comcast or DirecTV and say, I want channels 37, 52, 71, and that's it.
Right.
And,
and they pretended to do that, but they never really.
Well, that's because the cable companies were happy to sell you that. They weren't happy to charge you that.
Yeah.
Right. So, because they were happy to sell you 2,000 channels and charge you for, $300 a month. What they didn't want to do was to sell you 3 channels and charge you $3 a month.
Right.
Right. They wanted to sell you 3 channels and still charge you $300 a month.
Mm-hmm.
And so the problem with the whole app thing, it's been the problem, and it was the problem before I think smart TVs sort of solved this issue.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't really happy with the whole thing. I liked the fact that I had a DirecTV, or you might have Comcast or whatever.
No, I'm DirecTV.
I didn't have to have an app for Hallmark. I didn't have to have an app for HGTV. I didn't have to have an app for Fox. I didn't have to have it.
The consistency.
Well,
yeah.
I didn't want to run a PC. I didn't want to have to fire up and, fire an app up. But now the TVs are smart enough. They have enough processing power. They come with the apps that, switching from Prime to Hulu to Netflix to, ESPN to whatever is really no more strenuous now than it was finding the channel in the guide.
It's like picking a channel.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they fixed the usability issue with that. So now, right, none of these channels are going to be interested in being disintermediated, to use a long word, which we try and stay away from in this podcast.
I'm already confused.
Right.
Wow.
Well, Russ is in on it because, he was a bullshit major at university. They don't want to
prefer the term empathic truth teller, Tony.
Sure. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I said. And, they don't want to have somebody between them and their customer.
Mm-hmm.
And the bundler is simply a middleman.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing, is they're just simply trying to make it their argument is they're making it easier for you.
Mm.
But really, all they're being is just a middleman. It's like a distributor, if you think about it. Why would I buy from, Business B that happens to be a distributor for 4 different companies when I could just buy direct from those companies?
Right.
And the reason is those companies don't want to have the cost of tracking me as a customer and doing all this stuff. So to them, Business B, Business A, or whatever I call it, provides a service. It doesn't necessarily provide a service to me, the customer, but it provides a service to the OEM or the original bigger company. And in the physical product world and everything, that's great. It's I buy all my shit from DigiKey. I don't go to Microchip directly and try and buy stuff from them. Right. And I get that, but in the ephemeral world of selling bits of entertainment, which are just ones and zeros,
mm-hmm.
there's no real reason I would need to go to a middleman. I can buy directly. And then all of that margin goes to that company. And that's the sort of thing that they want to do. And that's why they don't want to be disintermediated. They don't want to sell, Hulu doesn't want to give Samsung a bag of cash so that Samsung can incorporate their channels with Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
What they want is they want an app that runs on that Samsung TV. And they want to make every single cent of that money that comes from that app.
Interesting. Any last thoughts, Russ, on your side?
No, I was just going to ask you if you're going to land the plane.
I'm landing as if you're good. All right. So I think what we learned
this would be the first time if it actually landed instead of just...
Well, I will say I was horrified to learn recently that my son's got some friends who are listening to the podcast.
Oh, boy.
So I would like to say hello to Braden and Amadeo.
Oh, man. Well, yes.
And I'm shocked if you made it all the way through this.
So
you too, Mr. New Zealand.
We used to have yes, thank you, Mr. New Zealand. We used to have
thank you, New Zealand.
a little saying when I was in the military, which was SSCBD,
mm-hmm.
which stood for Stall, Spin, Crash, Burn, Die. And the Air Force guys came up with that of what would happen at the bad end of trying to land the plane. Stall, spin, crash, burn, die.
I think we're kind of there right now.
I think our endings for all these podcasts are stall, spin, crash, burn, die.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. This one's probably going to be the worst one of them all, but...
So a little podcast news.
Oh, no.
I believe that Rob has agreed to pay our intrepid podcast intro and outro girl enough to actually justify her to listen
Yes.
to the podcast.
Holy shit.
But it won't be
That
this
is-
one because we won't
that
get it
is-
to her in time. If we did it Tuesday, she could, but I'm going to give it to her. I'm going to literally have to give her the notes tonight, and she'll have it ready so we can put up on Sunday. So next one, she'll do so.
Have you talked to OSHA about the regulations around forcing her to listen to this bullshit?
Well, I mean,
Well, all he did was open up the trap door to his basement. and
God,
ask,
money.
Oh, that's true.
Exactly.
He's just looking down into the pit.
Did you put the lotion in the bucket?
It'll
Dropping
put the headphones on again,
MP3s.
or else it'll get the hose again.
It puts the headphones on.
Well, with that in mind, as we learned, God, money is all in this situation. And yeah, so advertising will probably let TV die. We're all going to end up spending $400 for apps, or at least Russ already is. Let us know how that future looks. And satellite's
And it
dead.
puts the headphones in the basket.
Puts the headphones in the basket. Would you listen to my podcast? I'd listen to my podcast.
Let's not turn this into some weird ASMR or AMSR or whatever they say
Yeah,
thing.
one of
where
those
we're
things.
all just whispering into the microphone.
Someone
Well.
unwrap something with a plastic wrapper right now. All right, guys.
All right,
Get
look,
out of
I
here.
gotta get out of here. You guys suck as always.
You too, brother.
Yeah, fuck all y'all.
Catch you,
Take
boys.
care. Have a good one. Bye.
See you boys.
Alrighty then. Now that I'm allowed to take my headphones off, what have we learned? Lesson 1, I think? This narration is not my best work. Rob, I need more time to record these, bitch. Anyway, cable and satellite providers' #1 feature is consistency in delivering different kinds of content. Advertising is what made the TV industry what it is today, and as the money dries up in the broadcast companies, they will fold. Can we get regular TV to become a Netflix menu-like model? Who knows? Anyway, satellite TV is dead, and subscription management is the future. So don't go broke trying to get your Game of Thrones fix on? Moral of the story? If there's any issues with this narration, I'm not redoing it. This is a one-shot. I don't care. Anyway, see you guys next week. Cheers!